Hey, how you doing today, parents and students? We are going on to a new lesson on this week. The lesson will be broken up into 2 weeks because there are only 2 days left in this week. So we're going to do some of it today and tomorrow. So we're looking out for homework again on tomorrow. I know it's Friday and you're like, why homework on Friday? But I'm sorry, that's just how it fell. But we will also have next week so to finish this lesson. So this lesson will finish on Wednesday because Wednesday is our review day. So that means on Thursday we will have the quiz for lesson 7. So let's do a little review of what we've done so far. So what we have done so far, we have multiplied by 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. Those are the numbers we have multiplied with so far. So make sure you're practicing the skip counting for that, because remember, if you can skip count, you can multiply. So on this week, we are moving into 7, 8, and 9. So we've almost completed our whole fact chart, our fact table. What we'll have left after 7, 8, and 9, we'll have 11 and 12. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, we are still working with the break apart strategy. So with that break apart strategy, remember, we are taking a fact that we probably haven't learned yet, and we're breaking it up into something smaller that we do know so that we can solve it. And the reason why we are breaking it up into something smaller, because like I said, we probably just starting our 7s like we are today. We're just starting our 7s, so that means our 8s or our 9s. That means we probably aren't too familiar with it yet, but if we do know our 1s, our 2s, 3s, 4s, 5, and 6s, then that will help us to solve the numbers we don't know. We can break it apart into facts that include those numbers to help us solve the numbers we don't know. So that's why we break it apart. So again, we are taking a fact that is a fact we might not know, a big fact, and we're breaking it into 2 smaller facts. Once we figure out the product, which is a vocabulary word, the product is the answer to our multiplication equation. So we are taking the product and we are going to be adding those together to get the answer for the big fact. So that's what break apart is. But we're going to go through all that again to refresh your mind, because I know it's been a while. So we're going to go through it again. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to jump right in. This is going to be homework for today. This is lesson 7, session 1. Now, the top part of the homework was just vocabulary. And I like to do the vocabulary with the kids in class because I want them to get an understanding of what the vocabulary word means and some examples for that vocabulary word. So we did number 1 in class. So I'm just going to jump right in and go to number 2. So for number 2, it says explain how you can use the facts 8 times 5 equals 40 and 8 times 2 equals 16 to find 8 times 7. So the big fact is 8 times 7, which I've written over here. But they want us to use 8 times 5 and 8 times 2, and they already gave us the products of these. So 8 times 5 was 40, and 8 times 2 was 16. They wanted us to use this to figure out the big fact of 8 times 7. So that's why that's blank. But we can break this up into something smaller to figure it out. Now, if you notice on the side, I already drew the array. I know it's not on the sheet, but I like to do a drawing so the kids can see visually what's happening as well with the picture. So this is 8 times 7. So at the top, I like to write the numbers of what this is. This is 8 times 7. Okay? So because this is 8 times 7, I'm going to show you why it's 8 times 7. Remember, the first number is your rows. So that means I have 8 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The second number is how many you have in each row. So that means I should have 7 in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or you can also say you have 7 columns. That would be the same. So this array is for this multiplication equation of 8 times 7, which is here. So So they broke it apart into two smaller equations because we just starting our 8 and we're just starting our 7. So we don't know those just yet, but we can break apart one of these factors. We can break apart the 8 or the 7. So what they decided to do is to break apart the 7. They took that 7 and they broke it up into this 5 and this 2. This is where it comes from. This is the 5 and this is the 2. The 8 remained the same. So that's what we did. We broke it apart into 5 and 2. Because if I add it back together, it'll give me 7. So 5 plus 2 is 7. That's how you know how to break apart. You're going to break it apart into numbers that add up to that number. So over here, I'm going to show that in my drawing. So since I broke it up into 5 and 2, I'm going to do that here. So I'm going to count, because remember, the second number, which is the 7 that we broke up, is our columns. So I'm going to count 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to draw my line and break it apart. Okay, so, and then this one is the 2 that I broke it apart, 1, 2. So I have 5 columns on this side, 2 columns on that side. That's the 5 and the 2, the 5 and the 2. Okay, now the next thing is to write the multiplication equation for this side of the array. So for this side of the array, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 rows, that means my first number is 8. Times, well, let's see how many columns or how many I have in each row. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 in each row, or 5 columns. So the second number is 5. So this is what I tell the kids in class. Okay, since I have 5 in each row, I need to do a skip count to figure out how many I have altogether. And when we skip count, it helps us to figure things out quickly, which is why I asked you to learn your skip count, because to count all these circles will probably take us a minute. But if we can skip count, it'll go quicker. So because I have 5 in each row, I'm going to skip count by 5s. And remember, 5s is something we learned, which is why we broke it apart into something we know. This is why we break things apart into something we know, so it's easier. So skip counting by 5s. This is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40. So when I did my skip count, I got all the way down to 40. So that means 8 times 5 is 40. Do you see how the count went quicker? Because we skip counted? That's why we skip count. Okay, so let's go to this side of the array. Now this side we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 again, so that means 8 rows, and that number goes first. Let's see how many columns or how many we have in each row. So I have 1, 2 columns or 2 in each row. So my second number is going to be 2. Now we need to figure out the product. Vocabulary word again. Product is the answer to this multiplication equation. The product of 8 times 2. So let's figure it out. So if I have 2 in each row or 2 columns, that tells me I am going to be skip counting by 2, which is easy for me to do because I already know my 2s because we've been practicing 2s. So I'm going to skip count by 2s and find the answer. So let's do that. This will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. So now I know that 8 times 2 is 16. Now, this should look familiar because this is the same thing that we have here. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 2 is 16. So everything is good, that means the we checking this as we go, and it's still working out perfectly. So let's keep going. So now that we have broken it apart into two smaller ones, well, now we have to put it back together to figure out what the big one is, because that's what we were trying to figure out. Remember, we broke it apart so that we can find it something easier to solve, and then we put it back together. You know how when we break things and then we're like, oh, I gotta fix it, I gotta put it back together. It's the same thing. We broke it to figure out what it is, but now we gotta fix it and put it back together. All right, so let's put it back together. So you're gonna take your two products, 40 plus 16, and you're gonna add them together. That's how we put it back together. That's the glue. The glue is the addition sign. We're adding it back together. So over here, they already have the same thing. So far, everything is matching. This matches this. So all we have to do is add it. Well, 40 plus 16 will give us the answer of 56. Same thing here. 40 plus 16 will give me the answer of 56. So this is how we can use in the question. Let's go back to our question. It says explain how you can use 8 times 5 equals 40 and 8 times 2 equals 16 to find 8 times 7. This is how we can use it. We can use the two smaller facts to help us find the bigger facts. That's what I'm going to write. We will use the two smaller facts of 8 times 5 equals 40 and 8 times 2 equals 16 by adding them together. Let's put by adding the product. By adding the product together. Remember, product is a vocabulary word, and that's the answer to our multiplication equation. So by adding the product of each fact together to get the product of 8 times 7, which is our bigger fact. That's what we're trying to find out from the beginning, 8 times 7. So again, I'll reread it. We will use the two smaller, and I'm sorry, I have a little, put an S on smaller, let me erase that. Okay, we will use the two smaller facts of 8 times 5 equals 40 and 8 times 2 equals 16 by adding the product of each fact together to get the product of 8 times 6. So that's what we did. We took the products, which is 40 and 16, added them together to get the product of 8 times 7. I just explained exactly what I did. Okay, so that was number 2. And this is also kind of like a little refresher of what we did on last week, because we really started that break apart strategy on last week. So we're just continuing on what we did on last week. So I kind of went into depth with this problem because I wanted to refresh you on what we were doing previously. Okay, so let's go on to number 3. So this is number 3. Number 3 says, and number 3 is on the other side of the sheet, page 158. Solve the problem, show your work. Hannah and Mario are both finding 6 times 9. They each break apart the problem in a different way. Show 2 different ways to break apart 6 times 9 and find the product. Okay, that's no problem. So they already drew the array for us. Ms. Dillman went ahead and drew it up on the board already. I drew 2 arrays because they asked us to do it in 2 different ways. And I'm going to show you it on 2 arrays instead of trying to do it on 1 array, and then it looks kind of confusing. So I drew 2 arrays, and each of them is 6 times 9. And the reason why it is 6 times 9, again, the 6 tells us how many rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the 9 tells us how many columns or how many I have in each row. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these arrays match the multiplication expression. Okay. So they want us to show 2 different ways we can solve this. And basically they are trying to get us to see that even though we do it 2 different ways, we are still using the same numbers of 6 times 9. So we should still get the same answer. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that when I work these out. So let's get started. So for the first array, the first way I'm going to do it, I'm going to break apart the first factor of 6. I'm going to break it apart into something that's easier for me to solve. So I know my 3's, and I can break it apart into 3 and 3 because 3 plus 3 is 6. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break apart my 6 into 3 and 3. So that means I'm going to count, because it's the rows, and remember, rows go side to side. I'm going to count 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. Now my line is going to go here. And I'm breaking apart. I have 3 rows on top. That's that first 3. And 3 rows on bottom. That's the second 3. So I broke it apart into 3 and 3. Remember, when we put it back together, it's 6. So that works. The next step would be to write multiplication equations for each part. I'm going to write it for the top array. I'm going to write it for the second array, or the bottom array. So let's go and write that. So if I know I have 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, that means my first number is 3 in my multiplication equation. Now, in each row, or how many columns I have, will be my second number. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 9. Okay, let's keep going. So then we have our skip counting now. Now, I know you're saying, but we don't know our 9s yet. Well, this is the week we're learning 9s. So we're going to start practicing skip counting by 9s. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to do 9, 18, 27. So 3 times 9 is 27. All right, that's my first product. Now let's do the bottom array. Now, because the bottom array is identical or exactly like the top array, we can use the same equation, because again, it's 3 rows and 9 in each row. So this again would be 3 times 9. When we do our skip count, we would be skip counting again by 9, because there are 9 columns or 9 in each row. So this would be 9, 18, and 27. So now I know that the answer to this equation is 27. So now we have our 2 products. We have this product of 27, and we have this product of 27. The next thing we do, because we broke it apart, we gotta put it back together. And remember, the addition sign is our glue. So let's glue it back together, let's add it back together. So let's do our products. We're gonna do 27 plus 27, okay? So I'm gonna set the problem up so like this, because I know our kids, they learn to add this way, so I'm just gonna set it up like this and add it. So starting in the ones place, 7 plus 7 is 14. So I'm gonna write the 4, carry the 1. Or, I know we don't really say carry anymore, we say regroup. So I'm gonna regroup the 1 to the tens place. Okay, so then we're gonna go in our tens place, 2 plus 2, that is 4, plus the 1 that I regroup will be 5. So this will be 54. So now I know that 6 times 9 is 54. Okay, this is the first way we did it. And we got the answer of 54. Let's do the second way because they asked us to do it 2 different ways. So for the first way, again, I broke apart that 6 into 3 and 3. Well, this time I'm going to change my factors. I'm not going to do the 6, I'm going to do the 9. Now, you can do the 6 again. You can break it up into something else. You can do 4 and 2. You can do 5 and 1. You can do any combination that will give you the number 6 when you add it together. But this time, I'm going to choose to break apart the factor of 9. So the numbers I'm going to break it up into that I feel like it's going to be easy because, again, I want to use numbers that we know we've been working with, and that's going to be 4 and 5. We've been practicing our 4s. We've been practicing our 5s. So I know if I have to skip count by 4 or 5, then it'll be easy for me to do that. So that's what Ms. Newman is going to break it up. We're going to break it up into 4 and 5. And again, when I add 4 plus 5, it'll give me my number of 9. So that's a good number, good numbers to break it apart into. So the same way I broke it apart up here, I'm going to do it on my array because it has to match. Everything has to match. So I'm going to draw a line after the 4th column. So let's count our columns. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is my 4th column, and I'm going to draw a line straight down. It's not going to be straight because my drawing is not as straight, but I'm going to draw a line as straight as I can down the 4th, after the 4th column. Now, remember, the reason why we're doing it the column way this time because the second number is our columns. First number is rows, so the 6 means rows. The second number is 9 means columns. And columns go up and down. That's why I drew a line going down. Okay. Now, next step is to write the equations for both sides because now I broke it apart. Now it's time to do the work. Let's do the math. So for the first part over here, let's go ahead and write in a multiplication equation that matches that first part. So I'm looking at this, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. So that means it's going to start with the number 6. Now I'm going to count my columns or how many I have in each row. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is my next number. All right. Now, because just like I said, I've been practicing my 4s. So skip counting by 4 should be a breeze for me because I've already been practicing it. So because there are 4 in each row, I'm going to skip count by 4s. So let's do that. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So now I know that this side, the product to that multiplication equation of 6 times 4 is going to be 24. All right. So Ms. Newman has done her first side. I'm excited. I get to move to my second side. Okay, one side done, going to the second side. So on this side, I look to see how many rows, because you remember the first number is always going to be my rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 6, okay, times. Now we count to see how many we have in each row or how many columns we have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 5. All right, so here comes my skip counting again because I know my 5s and I have 5 in each row. I'm going to skip count by 5 and I'm so excited because I know my 5s. I've been practicing my 5s. You should be excited as well because you know your 5s because we've been practicing 5s. So let's go ahead and skip count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. So now, because I knew my 5s and I knew my 4s, which I'm super excited because We are learning our multiplication facts, and that's a big step for third grade. Third grade is a huge chunk of multiplication. So now we know that 6 times 5 is 30. All right, so now I know that this side is 30, this side is 24. So the next step would be, okay, we broke it apart. Now I gotta fix it. I need to put it back together. So to put it back together, I need to glue it. Well, my glue is the addition sign. So let's add it back together. So let's do our products. On this side, the product was 24. On this side, my product was 30. Product, notice how I keep saying that vocabulary word because I want you to get used to it. Because when we get to our LEAP test, they're going to be giving us words like that. And if we know what these words mean, we are already ahead of the game and we know exactly what they are talking about. So Ms. Newman likes to use her vocab a lot. So let's go ahead and add our products. So this will be 24 plus 30. And I'll go ahead and set it up this way because I know we add this way when we start out. So I'm starting in the ones place with 4 and 0. 4 plus 0 is going to be 4. Okay, done with my ones place. I don't have any to regroup over to the tens. So that means I'm just going to go straight to the tens and add. So 2 plus 3 is going to be 5. All right, so we have gotten the answer of 54. Who can tell me what is the word for the answer to an addition problem? If you can put that in my comments or send me a message, get your parents to send me the message in the PBIS app, I'll give you some PBIS points for to purchase things in the store. So send me the answer to this question I'm asking. The question is, I'll repeat it again. What is the answer to an addition equation called? That was a vocabulary word. Send me the answer. Okay, so moving on. We now know that this is 54. So now I know that 6 times 9 is 54 because we use our glue, we use our addition sign, we put it back together, and now we know that the big problem of 6 times 9 is 54. So this is what I was talking about at the beginning, how it doesn't matter how we break it apart because we will get the same answer. I broke it apart this way, and then I broke it apart this way. And guess what? We still got 54. So as long as you break it apart using correct numbers, you will get the same answer. And the reason why we get the same answers is because the big array never changed. We still have 6 rows of 9. That's why it never changed. Okay, so let's keep going to the next problem. The next problem says, for number 4, check your answer. Show your work. Okay, well, let's check our answer. Let's go to number 4. All right, so this is number 4. Ms. Newman made a little boo-boo. She wrote it as number 3, but this is really number 4. Okay, so they want us to check the answer from number 3. The only way that Ms. Newman would feel comfortable checking the answer is to do another array. If you feel like there's another way you would like to check it, that's fine. But for Ms. Newman, I'm going to go ahead and do the array, but this time I'm going to break it up a different way. So this again is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 rows, so 6 times, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 columns are 9 in each row. So again, this is still 6 times 9 from number 3. Remember, we are checking number 3. So it's going to be the same thing. Now, the only difference is we're going to break it up differently. So Another way that we can break this up differently, we can break 9 up into something. We can break the 6 up, or we can break the 9. Ms. Nguyen is choosing to do the 9. So I'm gonna break my 9 up into something else. Let's see, something that I might know that I could break it up into. I've already broke up, I've used 5 and 4 already. Let's see, we could possibly use 3 and 6, because we've been skip counting with our 3s, so we should know 3s. We've been skip counting with our 6s, so we should know the 6. So I think 6 and 3 would be perfect. Let's go ahead and do 6 and 3, or 3 and 6. So that means I'm going to count 3 columns. Remember, the second number is the column, so I'm working with the columns this time, up and down. So I'm going to count 3 columns, 1, 2, 3, and draw my line there. So my line is going to go there. I have 3 on this side, and this side I have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1, 2, 3. So everything right here is perfect so far. So let's go ahead and go to the next step. The next step would be to write the equations. So let's write the equations. So again, first number is your rows. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times, and then I have 3 in each row. So 3 are 3 columns. Now, I need to figure out what 6 times 3. I'm excited because I know I can do this. I've been practicing my 3s, so all I have to do is skip count by 3 because there are 3 in each row. So this is going to start off with 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and then 18. So now I know that 6 times 3 is 18. So I'm going to write 18. Okay, done with my first array. Let's move to the second array on this side. So again, let's start with our rows. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 rows, so 6 goes first. Okay, then I count to see how many columns or how many I have in each row. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 in this, on this side. Okay, so now, because I've been skip counting by 6, I'm excited again because I know I can do that. So let's go ahead and skip count by 6 because there are 6 in each row. This will be 6, then 12, then 18, then 24, then 30, then 36. So now I know that 6 times 6 is 36. All right, we should be getting better with that skip counting. It should be flowing like that now. So now we have our 2 products. The product of 6 times 3 was 18, and the product of 6 times 6 was 36. So now that we've broken it apart, remember we drew that line and broke it apart. Now we have to glue it back together with our addition sign. So we're going to take the product of 18 plus the product of 36, and we're going to add it together. So I'm going to set it up over here. 18 plus, oh, I put an addition, a multiplication sign. I'm so used to doing my multiplication. So plus 36. All right, so let's start adding in our ones place with 8 and 6. 8 plus 6 is going to be 14. So I'm going to write the 4, but I'm going to regroup that 1 to the tens place. Okay, now I'm in the tens place. I have 1 plus 3, that is going to be 4, plus that 1 is 5. So now I know that 18 plus 36 is 54. So again, 6 times 9 is 54. So we got 54 2 times for number 3, and then a 3rd time for number 4. So that's our check. We got 3 54s, even though we know we did it 3 different ways. So that just lets me know that, hey, 6 times 9 indeed is 54. Okay, so that is the last problem for today. And that is it for this homework. Now, parents, make sure you just a couple of announcements, or just one announcement really. We have our Pink the Town Pink Day on tomorrow for breast cancer. So everyone is allowed to wear pink. So make sure you show your pride by wearing your pink. And also remember, I asked the question, and I want you to go in and send me the messages for those answers so your kids can get those points. That is it for today. Make sure you're practicing your skip counting. This week is new numbers. It's 7, 8, and 9. Numbers we should already be practicing and know is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. Those are the numbers we should already be practicing, and we should be getting really good at those by now. So that is it for today. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys at school on tomorrow. Bye.